men, everybody's just thinking about the family, and they pay less attention to their self, to their health. I saw a video recently where a lady went to work, and while she was just addressing her colleagues, she collapsed. That's quite sad, because I know as parents we're always thinking about work. Even during the holidays, some people were still working. So I'll just tell them, pay attention to your health. When you need to rest, take that rest. When your body is telling you to rest, please ensure to rest. Stop trying to, yes, we understand that there are bills. We know that there are bills. But the worst thing is when you are no longer there. What about those bills? Those bills are still going to be there. So just take care of yourself, because they say when there is life, there is hope.
Wow, this is really, really thoughtful this morning. I like the angle you're coming from. I mean, it's okay. It's the best thing to do. Take time out and take care of yourself. Very important. And that's why I'm not going to but as long as this time. Hi, that's why good morning. It's beautiful.
Thank you. And you're not looking bad as well. Yes. Let me take it from where SSR stopped. Yes, I think it's it's important that yes, parents should. My sister during the holiday, and something like this happened. She's been shouting. She wants everything to be perfect. Yes, she's a perfectionist, and she's been shouting up and down. The house. She wants her kids to have the best. She wants everything to be ready. The food is ready. Their clothes, are preparing for school. She went to the market. I went with her, of course. She was walking. And every day she's out of the house. I mean, she's going somewhere very far from the house, driving, and when we got to the market, and she said she was feeling, she had this very tight, she was feeling this pain in the heart. Yes, and I told her, you've been shouting and yelling. Since I got in, there is no day that you don't go out. What exactly is happening to you? Take your time, rest. Just relax, everything will be fine. Things will sort itself. Don't kill yourself for nothing. Thank God she took to the advice, and then she had to take her rest. I had to report her to my mom. I said, tell your daughter. She's beginning, I don't understand. I'm scared. I didn't let her know I was scared when she told me, she had that. But I knew, I knew back to back, no. Nobody, that energy was just too much. She was expanding. Alright, so this is 2026. It's a new year, and 9 days is gone from 365 days. So you better make it count. Whatever that you want to do this year, if you have not started, I'm telling you, you're planning to fail. You have to start, take little steps. The only thing that you will do that is not right is if you just stop. If you can crawl. If you can walk, just keep doing it gradually, one step at a time, and you'll get there. 2026, I hope it's going to be a beautiful year for you and for me. Welcome once again to Perspective. And so we have a lot for you today, Remy.
Yeah, sure, we do have a lot for you today. If it's a baby step, please take it. Don't just stay there, not doing anything. It's the offense according to Liar. And when you said I think women especially, I know men too work very hard, but when it comes to the running around the house, chores, the children, it's usually more or the women rather. For the men, it is to run around to make sure that they provide for the children's school fees, all of that, feeding, everything that has to do with taking care of the house in terms of finance is on there, and that's a whole lot. Sometimes take that time, it's very important. If you need to, as couple, just both of you, go somewhere, spend 3 days or days together. Relax. Just that time. Look for that time together. But without those children, how you started, you need to find it. It's very, very important. And for women who are working, especially too for women who are at the end of affairs, it's usually very, very hard.
Pretty hard.
Yes, because at work you want to come out best, you're also shouting others and trying to think it's a whole lot. With the try, look at great us, really. But then you need to find that time. You need to find the balance. That's the message these beautiful ladies have brought to you this morning, and I think it's best you take it. It will stand you in good stead because of they say is wealth.
Yes.
If you just drop today, from light and light, those children
Life will go on.
move well.
Exactly.
They will. People will not come up for them, and they will still be what God has destined them to be, with or without you in there. So why not just plan to stay alive so you can see those beautiful things that God has embedded in them. Welcome once again on the program. We'll take a short break. We'll come back and go to the nitty-gritty of the program, starting with the newspaper headline review. Of course, we have our focus today and the trainers diaries. We'll also be taking calls, especially when we host our guests, for you to also be able to respond to our focus, what we'll be looking at today. Please stick around, don't know where. This is Perspectives.
Care of your physical body is good for your mental health and crucial for overall well-being and a high quality of life. It empowers you to live a longer, healthier, and more fulfilling life. Focus on a balanced diet, regular physical activities, sufficient sleep, go for regular checks, protect yourself from preventable diseases, avoid smoking, excessive alcohol consumption, and risky behaviors. Eat healthy, avoid illegal drugs or using prescription drugs in ways other than prescribed. Keep your environment clean, stay hydrated, and connect with other people, as good relationships are important for your mental well-being. Please go to the hospital or consult your doctor if you are not sure of what your body is telling you. Remember that good health is more valuable than material possessions. It is the most precious asset, as it enables you enjoy life, pursue goals, and experience happiness, which wealth alone cannot guarantee. Health is wealth. This message is brought to you by Osrc Television.
Welcome back. Moving straight to the newspapers we have for you today. I'll be starting with this day newspaper with a screaming headline: Rivers Assembly begins third impeachment proceedings against Fubara, and it has some riders. APC fights back, trash lawmakers. Arena rejects impeachment plot. Then some other ones there, but you can find the details on page 9. That's where the details of that story is. Mark, ADC reviewing its constitution for inclusiveness, accountability, and fairness. That's the chairman of ADC speaking there, David Mark. Tinubu hails corporate Nigeria. Other stakeholders over NGA's 100 trillion milestone in capital market. Alright, we also have this one. Lagos Assembly passes some will lose 4.4 trillion naira 2026 budget. You can also see that on page 8 of this day newspaper. Alright, celebration of Labour icon Hassan Sumono on his 85th birthday. Congratulations to him. Hi, sister. Let's have the next one.
Okay, moving on to Nigeria Tribune. Tension in Rivers over moves to impeach Fubara, and the writer says APC, INC, IYC express divergent views why he must go, coming from the assembly, and that's on page 21 and 22 of the Nigerian Tribune. Also, we have Oyo bandit attack, operatives step up investigations, and the writer says Comb Kwara, Niger boundaries, Adams, Akala, Afenifere, others condemn attack, call for more security presence in strategic places. That's on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. Also, we have 141 million Nigerians living in poverty is threat to country's future. That's from Peter Obi, and you can find that on page 5. Nigerians' democracy striving, not under threat. APC replies Atiku, and that's on page 22. Failed transactions, mobile network operators, banks refund over 10 billion naira to customers, and that's on page 6. The writer says NCC, CBN roll out refund framework. On health, we have single dose oral cholera vaccine completes phase 1 trial with promising results. That's on page 6. Tinubu applauds 100 trillion naira milestone. Okay, milestone. And the writer says charges Nigerians to invest more locally. And I think that's all we have from the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, Atilaya.
Right, I've got with me Daily Trust, and the big story says how Rivers Peace deal collapsed again. And we've got some other ones in that as well. Inflation likely to fall below 10% in 2026. That's coming from President Tinubu. Citizens' businesses express concern over tax laws. And 10 children die of cholera in Taraba. Kano Assembly justifies Governor Yusuf's planned defection. Afenifere decries terror attack in Southwest. You can find that on page 1. U.S. withdraws from ECOSOC, 65 other global organizations, and that's on page 24. And 6 farmers killed in fresh plateau attack. Find that on page 6. Okay, and that's all I've got for you on Daily Trust.
Okay, let's move to the Vanguard newspaper, which is what I have here. And the big story, it's just like the same big story on all newspapers today, which is the Rivers impeachment. Impeachment. APC Rivers Assembly at war over Fuba deputy. You can find that on page 5. Also, we have U.S. Senate rebukes Trump over Venezuela. That can be found on page 30 of the Vanguard newspaper. Federal government directs shipping firms, airlines to submit manifest via national single window. That's on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper. Governors who defect should lose seats. This is coming from Ugalu, and you can find details on page 11. This one is overflowed because we always hear it. Lose seats, we defect, but that's what we're having in our political space.
Yeah, I think that's something that they should push. It's going to also curb this defection and redefection. So at least you just, because a lot of people are saying this defection here and there is all for personal gains. You understand? So if there's a way to curb it, then I think it should fly.
Yes, if there is a way, but we know that our people will not want to look towards that end just because of that same thing.
Personal interest.
141 million Nigerians poor while politicians jostle for power. This is coming from Peter Obi. You can go to page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper for details. Nigeria attracts $14 billion foreign investments in 9 months of 2025. That's on page 21. Okay, and we also have Oxford Dictionary Arts Mami Market, Amala, other Nigerian words into glossaries. That's on page 9. I see some of those words.
Yeah.
So
The abroad.
some of those words I did for the Yash for the Joyce. Dictionary. So that's good. That means Nigeria they go places. And our pidgin words they make sense.
And even those white guys, they begin to speak this.
Exactly.
This word too.
Yes. Yeah. Amala. In fact, I was listening to this commentary recently about football. And I've forgotten the particular word they use. My husband said, now wow, Nigeria don't go far. Sometimes they don't use our words. Bloodbath in Benue. Rival called gangs kill 8 in supremacy clash. That's on page 7. I don't understand what's wrong with Benue. If it is not bandits attack and you clash again within yourself, saying you will be rivalry gang, I don't understand. They have to look into.
I wonder how many people are left in Benue.
Exactly.
Yes.
Federal government disburses outcome bonuses to super riggers. That's coming from finance minister, and that's quite an interesting one because those guys say they're not going to go Marrakesh for the next match against Algeria if they are not
the bonuses are not being disbursed.
Okay, so I want to take this one here on a lighter note from Mr. and Mrs. He says, Mr. said, my grandmother was a tax collector. The folks didn't like him, but we were proud of our family. And Mrs. said, so your family started this tax problem long ago. Keep your story to yourself or you'll be mocked. That's quite an interesting one there. Alright.
Moving on to the Nation newspaper, lawmakers why Fubara should go. That's on page 2 of the Nation. Stock market 100 trillion naira milestone, sign of renewed confidence. That's on page 3 of the Nation newspaper. Federal government explains how lowest income earners will pay zero tax. That's on page 3. Lagos Assembly passes 4.4 trillion 2026 appropriation bill. That's on page 6. NAF pushes for delivery of 12 fighters jets from the US. That's on page 3. And that's all we have from the Nation newspaper.
Okay, let's get down to the Guardian newspaper. And for this, we have Fubara may meet Tinubu as Rivers Row escalates with Assembly probe. You can find that on page 6. And UN climate fight suffers as US exits 66 international bodies threatens. Okay. And FG raises 1.1 trillion naira from first 2026 treasury bills auction. Okay, and politicians scrambling for power while Nigerians fall into poverty. Obi laments. Alright, and BVN enrollment hits 67.8 million and 325 million bank accounts active. FCCA threatens TIFA sanctions over flight delays cancellation. Tinubu rallies investors to NGX after 100 trillion naira milestone. And how gaps in Nigeria's emergency response compound fatalities. Tax laws, expert warn of disputes capital flight despite governor assurances. FG to review tariff for industrial growth, lower production costs. Alright, that's all we've got for you on the Guardian newspaper. Can we move on?
Okay, quickly to the Punch newspaper, and I love the way Punch captured the big story today. Rivers in turmoil. APC leaders intervene as Fubara faces fresh impeachment threat. You can find that on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. APC ramps up membership e-registration. Also, we have federal government earmarks 1.7 trillion naira in fresh budget for unpaid contractors. Dangote refinery marketers feel deal crashes. I hope it will favor us. All this war here and there. If it is not reverse, it is Dangote and all. And so many
but the prices of fuel, it has gone down in some stations, and but I feel like it's...
We hope it won't go up again.
I hope it's what it feels out there. Like it might go up again. Insurgency, federal government U.S. company planned delivery of 12 attack helicopters. You can find that on page 7. Ogun teenage boy dies during swimming. This is sad. It's another kind of sadness we want to hear. Teenage boy swimming and dying in the process. 2027, San leads ADC 21-man Constitution Review Committee. Lagos Assembly passes 4.4 trillion naira 2026 budget. That's on page 22.
Okay, and then lastly on Daily Independent, impeachment proceedings against Fubara, you advised. That's on page 29. And the writer says APC says action politically driven to destabilize state. The CLO seek restraint, says there's tension in the state, and the Assembly's action ill-conceived. South-South youth. Also, we have the U.S. Senate rebukes on Trump on Venezuela in war power vote. That's on page 6. Table excited as MGX surpasses 100 trillion naira threshold. That's on page 7. Afenifere asks governors to take action against rising terror in the southwest. That's on page 7. Lagos Assembly passes 4.4 trillion naira 2026 budget. That's on page 6. NCAA considers stiffer penalties for chronic flight delays by airline. That's on page 6. I'm particularly happy about this one because when you have no rules or sanctions for actions, you tend to act how you like. So when they know that there are actions for or sanctions for their actions, I think they would act right. And then lastly, PDP releases INEC CTC report on Ekiti Buba primaries. I think that's all we have from the Daily Independent.
Alright, those are the newspapers we have today, and you've heard the headlines. If you want to read more about them, please pick up our newspaper this morning and you'll get the details there. But now we'll take a short break as we'll be bringing on our guests to look at today's focus. Quite an interesting focus, I must say. So please go nowhere. We'll be back and also be ready to call in during the program so you can ask our guest question. We'll be back shortly. To stay. is still Perspectives of Osrc Television. And as I said earlier, we are hosting a very important personality, a political analyst, and we'll be looking at the Buhaha, I will call it, in Rivers State. As we know that lawmakers have called for Bara's impeachment. In fact, this is the third time this is happening. The first one was in 2023. Fubara is trending again, seriously, in Rivers State, as the House of Assembly has called for his impeachment and that of his deputy, Ngozi Obu. Some will say deja vu, eh? What says you about this? First of all, you need to meet my guest, Akinwumi Abodunde. I dey like the way they pronounce your name, even me they feel am. You feel am?
Yes, I feel am. Okay, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, it's a good thing to be here again, and I think that we'll get over all those problems. But let us look at the issues. So I'll wait for you to ask your questions.
Yes, the
It's a very interesting development. Very sad, but
an interesting one. Can you briefly explain what led to this? And we know there have been several issues and all that, but this last one again, after it's been called twice, this is the third time that the House is calling for his impeachment. I foresee 2 more times. Before the end of his tenure?
No, before the end of his tenure. Of his first
tenure, yes.
His first time. But before I even answer your question, let me tell you a very old proverb. As a man, when you breed a lion as a pet, you don't leave your wife and children in the house when you are not there. I won't say much more than that. Let me now go to your question. You see, I just pray for democracy. The things that have truncated our democracy in the past were not this violent. So again, I say Nigerians must pray for our democracy. Because the truth of the matter is that, like the Yorubas say, don't give you a bad level. No, now. The truth is that our politicians are careless. And they must be very careful. Look, the truth is, okay, let's even look at the issues in Rivers State. What is Fubara's offense? Alright, the other time, he said he didn't present a budget, he was spending money and without appropriation. Okay, so there was an emergency rule. Some Nigerians supported it, some opposed it. Alright, anyway, there was an emergency rule. Now let me tell you one very dangerous thing about our style of democracy. Our constitution gives the president or the governors or whoever they are, the leaders of government, the power, not the people. The constitution is supposed to give the people power, not the state. But what we have in Nigeria with our constitution is that the state is the one who has the power. That's dangerous. And we must look at it again and say, no, I expect that we'll deal with our constitutional issues going forward. But anyway, the president proclaimed
the emergency rule, which lasted 6 months.
And brought in the person who superintended over the affairs of Rivers, a retired military general. And he presented the budget to the National Assembly because he didn't have a state assembly. So he presented it. So the truth is, he was operating that budget until this fellow came. and came back, sorry. And he came back, then they are accusing him again of spending money without appropriation, among other issues.
Yes, also the fact that he made appointments without approval of the House of Assembly.
Okay, let me ask you a question. So, as governor, there are appointments you can make without approval of the Assembly. Then, question 2, have members of the State House of Assembly made themselves available? They have been fighting him from the day he came back. He returned as the governor. How easy is that for him to operate? How? Anyway, so you have called for his impeachment. Now, but we all know the underlying issues. It is because of years of Wike. Wike had made it clear that Fubara will not get a second time.
And saying that he does,
that he will be buried politically. How can you be a minister and be talking down on your governor? It is the height of indiscipline. Look, a minister is not an elected representative of the people. On the protocol list, in any case, you will also forget, Wike is not even a member of the APC.
Yeah.
But he has decided to cause crisis in Rivers State.
because it's working with APC.
Which working with APC?
He's the minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
So
under the APC.
Everybody can be minister. You don't have to be. You don't have anybody can be minister. I can decide that I want to populate my cabinet as president. I want to populate my cabinet with 50-50 areas, 30-30.
Which for me is even
Which is not a big deal.
Yes.
Which is not has got the yes. Okay. So that he is a minister, then he has made too many violent remarks. And he has to be careful. Okay, look at his face off with the National Secretary of the APC. What did Adibola Bashiru say? That was wrong. Nothing. The real problem in Rivers State is in years of Wike. Simple. And we must be careful. But of course, he was bred as a lion by some people. Now he's fighting the people who bred him. And that's the problem.
But then how did we even get there? How did Wike get so much power? You know, just one man, and in Rivers State, nobody has been able to say anything. How did he, get that power? Just one man.
Okay,
and we've not even heard the president say anything so far.
Well, let's give it to the president. The president is not at home.
Okay.
But yesterday something happened. There was a 3-man delegation that went to Rivers.
Rivers, yes.
To meet Fubara. And I saw a very interesting architecture in that
meeting.
Okay.
The National Security Advisor,
was one of the years.
Hope Uzodimma, who is the chairman of the APC Governors Forum.
So was David
Dave Umahi, who is the Minister of Works, was there. Let me tell you what I saw. No Ribadu was on that delegation because he needed to give him security strength to make a statement that this guy is secure. The chairman of the APC Governors Forum went there to tell him that you have the backing of the ruling party. And the governors, and your brother governors, are behind you. And of course, Dave Umahi, I won't tell you why I think he was on that team. But it was a significant team. Now, let's even assume that, okay, let's agree that he's a minister in the APC government. You are not fighting the party that brought the government, that owns the government.
Yeah.
Because for you to fight the national secretary of the party, you are fighting the entire party. The national secretary is the one who holds the party. It is his job to hold, he is the secretariat of the party. You are fighting him, you are fighting everybody. You have said, in fact, he went to the extent of, then, you see, when we are leaders, we must be careful the people who speak on our behalf.
Oh, yes.
Leila Ralinka is a clown. How can Leila Ralinka tell the APC that it is Wike that can win or show election for them, not the APC? That's the height of insult. If I was president, I would fire that minister immediately. Leaders will come work. You cannot insult my party and the leaders of my party. You are directly insulting me.
Okay. Rivers State politics has long been associated
with violence.
Godfatherism. As it is, this war is more of father to son.
There is no father to son.
According to Wiki,
there is no father to son.
That is all.
There is interest. There's only one thing that is the issue. Interest. Everybody has a conflict of interest. Interest in the till, in the pot of River State.
Okay. Sorry. But are we going to say now that what Fubara has been accused of, it's not present? Because now, because we want to say, like, and the notes that we're trying to say, this is a democracy threat and not like a constitutional duty. So are you saying those, what he's being accused of, what's it called?
Making
So is it not present? Because now it seems like we are taking it away from all of that, trying to say, okay, Wike has his influence. Yes, we know he may or may not, allegedly. But are we saying those offenses that Fubara is being impeached for is not present?
Okay, so this is the answer, very simple answer to that question. When you want to impeach a person, a governor, let's be specific this time, you must send the offenses to the chief judge of the state. Do you understand?
Okay.
The chief judge, it is the chief judge who will investigate the offenses. That's the procedure. Now, have they done that? You must ask yourself. Then, was he served?
He will be served in 7 days.
You can't. Hold on. Has he been served?
Not yet.
Did you see the brigandage that happened in the House of Assembly yesterday? Did you watch it? Okay. So, you see, you cannot put the cart before the horse.
Yes.
If you want to impeach a governor, you must not make it look like you are fighting a war.
For the due process.
Let me tell you why the wicked dimension is important. 4 days ago, the members of the House of Assembly contributed money to present Wike a car as a gift, a New Year gift. Thank you gift.
For what?
In Yoruba land we say Ajekela no. Sorry. I'm sure you don't understand that. Sorry. Well, I go, okay, let me just translate. Okay, so they said the witch cried in the night. And the following day,
Right.
obviously we know what happened.
And there's the handwriting on the wall.
The handwriting on the wall. So the point is this. Then you have you are fighting Fubara and you have made it clear to me that you are fighting.
Yes.
Look, you cannot be objective even if you want to impeach him, even if he commits impeachable offenses. You see, you must be intelligent when you want to fight a war. You can't fight me and then want to superintend over my matter. I know that you'll be biased. That is the problem. That is what everybody is complaining about. You can't do that. Everybody, and don't forget that even after the emergency rule ended, there has been no relationship at all between the executive and the legislature, because the legislature keeps making it difficult. We read these things in the newspapers, we see it. Nigerian journalists are very credible. The media in Nigeria is very credible, so I believe a good volume of what I read in the newspapers here, the television, and I know where to get credible reports. And in any case, pictures don't lie, videos don't lie. So the thing is, they have made rivers ungovernable for Fubara. So you are going to even if you want to do like they are complaining already. And we can't afford to do all of that if we want a sane democracy. If we want our democracy to be stable. That is the truth of the matter. And unless politicians learn this,
so what does this River State crisis tells us about the failure or success of political independence after elections in Nigeria?
I hate to take you back to 1983. The crisis of 1983 started from Ondo State, just one state. When houses were burned, a lot of things happened. Now, after that crisis, pockets of violence started happening in other states. And so, the military capitalized on the 31st of December 1983 and took over government. Don't say that it is just one state, and that's the point I'm trying to make. We must ensure that political stability happens everywhere, so that there will be no excuse for anybody, any persons or group of persons to be mischievous. But having said that, your question is that, okay, so what does this mean for political development? Of course, it shows that if it can happen in rivers,
It can happen anywhere.
it can happen anywhere. So what happens is this. You know that politicians in Nigeria are very bad losers. Nigerian politicians are very bad losers. Because for most politicians, that is the only address they have. Most Nigerian politicians are professional politicians. They don't have any other thing they are doing. So when they lose election, they're in trouble. So it is easy for them to precipitate violence, uprising, and all of these things.
And to hold on to power.
Exactly. So, first off, those who even have no business in the election process will hijack it. Because already, the political process in River State has been hijacked by miscreants, people who have no business. Why should a minister, for instance, be interfering so much in the day-to-day running of the state?
Yeah.
Why?
Not even after the president brokered peace.
Look,
We were talking about broke-out peace. Last week we had a follow-up where Wike came out saying that the agreement that they had. So we don't know the agreement that they had. So we can just say, so we don't know if maybe that agreement entails that Fubara has to follow. We don't know. That's what I'm saying. Because now it's coming out.
That's what I was going to say.
Because right now he came out again and called Fubara a bad child.
what did the APC say about the second term for Fubara? Because let me tell you something. The president is the national leader of the APC. Am I correct?
Yes, very.
There's no such agreement that will happen about River State that the APC won't be aware of if it has to do about elections. Naturally, if there was a clause in the agreement that said Fubara, you won't go for a second, and in that case, what is his offense that he won't be allowed to go for a second?
But perhaps he didn't agree to that.
The point is, has the APC said he cannot do a second term?
No, I don't think.
So maybe the agreement was before the defection, and now that he has defected, because the party has to back him up.
Has Wike told you what the agreement is?
That's what everybody is. He has threatened that we make public.
Why you make it public? You see, let me tell you something. You don't fight like a blind man. You will fall into the gutter. Now, if you say Ladaja has breached our agreement, and in any case, has Fubara said he wants to do a second time? Where have you heard him say it? Have you heard him say it, Remy? Yes, have you heard him say it?
Perhaps.
Yeah,
Maybe he could have that, intention.
Intention is from saying it out.
Is he inside though? Good intention. We are not even sure whether and I don't see such an agreement being in the books, but let's even assume it is there. Has Fubara said he wants to be a second
No,
term?
not yet.
So what is the problem? From every angle, Wike has offended Fubara.
Every angle.
From every angle. You are destabilizing the state, making it difficult. Look, when Fubara came, the first pronouncement he made was, I left 300 billion naira in the treasury when I was leaving. When I came back, I met 700 billion. Is that not the disposition of a man who wants to be transparent? He could have kept quiet and said he met the 300 billion, maybe that his predecessor, the lad, had spent part of the money he even left. But he said he met more than double what he left. That's transparency. So how can you accuse a man like that of misappropriation?
Okay.
He has told the truth. Then do you expect him to run government without any aid?
No, that's not possible. That's not
Do you?
No, he doesn't. But I think for Wiki, he wants to choose his aides.
How can he choose my aid for me?
I mean, if he wants to be in Rivers politics, then he should resign and join.
That is what Ashiru said.
Yes.
He said, look, resign
and face the
because now the FCT is suffering.
Because he has
Wike has abandoned his job as FCT
minister around local governments, preaching that when there's agreement you must keep. That's what he's been doing for that.
It's preposterous. Look, let's be frank. In fact, look, Fubara is a very gentleman. He will not destabilize my state as governor, and I will look at you. It cannot happen. If I'm governor, I'm governor.
I think he's still.
No, forget. Look, Sherry, if they're not willing, nothing will win. I will be governor, and you will destabilize my state.
You know, he started from Wike brought him in.
Look. Test.
This is the godfather.
He
feels like he's still owing my area.
He's godfatherism in our books.
He's not coming out.
Who brought him into government? Did Wike bring himself into government?
Aside from the patient Jonathan, the former River State Governor Amechi, what did Wike do to him? Eventually,
don't even worry. Don't let me even count yourself. The thing is this: when I become governor, the constitution does not tell me that I should obey the laws of my godfather. Because the constitution does not know any godfather. The constitution knows a governor, a president.
I get that part.
A local government chairman.
What is godfatherism?
Wait. You see, I'm
not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right, but that is the reality.
I agree with you. But are we going to continue that way? And in any case, what exactly is it that Fubara has done? Promoted them more?
Okay, what to Wike? I have some. Okay, he said that he dropped a program for Fubara to run, and Fubara did not follow the program.
Also, he said
he employed over 10,000 youths. Wike, and then when Fubara came in, he took them out.
What's more?
And then he also said that Fubara is taking credit for projects that he started.
Is government not to continue?
Yes, it is.
Is he an illiterate? I thought he was a lawyer. He called himself a lawyer.
I think this case is the case of Adria Gagara. Don't
raise those issues. They're saying people like that. How can I be a governor? Then you will give me the
what to do.
Which governor in Nigeria will accept it?
That's why he said
if you are governor, we accept it. If you are madam governor, we accept it.
Alright, so let's look at it.
You will accept it.
Now that Fubara has moved to APC, Wike is working with APC. We don't know if he's still in PDP because he's been suspended. But this question, after going to the newsroom, he said he's a PDP. PDP is saying they've suspended him. So we don't know.
Looks like his faction. PDP is factionalized.
Yes.
Looks like his faction is one of the best.
Alright, we will know more of that when we come back from the newsroom where we take a developing story. Please do stay with us.
Máyọ̀lẹ̀ sójú ọ̀nà.
Ìmọ́tótó ló lè ṣẹ́kun àrùn gbogbo. Ẹ̀fọn tó gbòòrò àtúnlọ́wọ́ àwọn tó rẹ̀rọ. Kẹ́kùn lè gbà kó sàbùn tókò.
Hello and welcome to Developing Stories. I am Obi Chukwemeka Oti. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has urged eligible Nigerians, particularly youths aged 18 and above, to register as voters in order to fulfill their civic duty ahead of future elections, including the 2027 general elections. The head of Department for Voter Education, Publicity and Gender Inclusivity at INEC office in Ondo State, Mr. Olayinka Ogunseyi, spoke in Akure on the resumption of the second phase of the continuous voter registration exercise. Our correspondent Adewumi Taiwo reports.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has resumed the second phase of its nationwide continuous voter registration exercise. In Ondo State, eligible voters are trooping to INEC offices to register as old voters, update their details, or transfer their voter information using the electronic system. INEC officials are on ground attending to registrants, guiding them through the process and ensuring strict adherence to guidelines. INEC Head of Department for Voter Education, Publicity and Gender Inclusivity in Ondo State, Olayinka Ogunseyi, said the exercise is necessary as it is the only way qualified Nigerians can participate in the 2027 elections. Ogunseyi added that equipment and personnel will soon be deployed to the ward level to make registration easier for residents.
The second phase of the continuous voter registration exercise started on the 5th and it will be ending on the 17th of April 2026. INEC has given every eligible citizen the opportunity to come out. Maybe you've been busy or you are not aware or anything. This is now your opportunity to come out and register.
Some residents who spoke with Osrc said registering is essential to enable them vote and participate fully in the electoral process.
It's a welcome
development, and it's part of the dividends of democracy, as this is our way of electing our leaders, having a say in what is going on in the government and politics of our states.
The exercise is very seamless. I just walk in, they attend to me very well, and within the next 30 minutes I'm through with what I'm doing, and the staff are very fantastic.
As the second phase of INEC's continuous voter registration exercise continues in Akure and across Ondo State, there are high expectations that it will produce a more credible, inclusive, and updated voters register for future elections. Adewumi Taiwo, Osrc News.
In the meantime, the Rivers State chapter of the All Progressives Congress (APC) has rejected the impeachment process initiated by the Rivers State House of Assembly against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy Ngozi Odu, describing the move as destabilizing and unnecessary. In a statement by the party spokesperson Darlington Nwoju, the APC said it acknowledged the constitutional independence of the legislature, but would not support what it termed a resort to impeachment against an APC-led government. The party cautioned lawmakers, particularly its members in the assembly, against yielding to external pressure capable of plunging the state into political turmoil. Though the governor has yet to comment on the latest move, the Rivers APC has asked the assembly to discontinue the impeachment process. The ruling party is warning that it could damage APC's image and stall the state's development. The federal government's push for mandatory pre-employment drug testing on prospective public servant applicants has continued to receive support from the public, marking a vital step in curbing Nigeria's rampant drug abuse. A 2019 United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime survey revealed 10.6 million Nigerians abusing marijuana, with local cultivation rivaling Afghanistan, the world's second largest exporter of marijuana. To stem the start, the government in December directed all ministries, departments and agencies to make drug testing a core recruitment requirement. In a statement, the federal government said this aligns with the current administration's resolve to tackle drug and substance abuse head-on, insulating the national workforce from unwholesome practices. According to the statement, random mandatory testing for all Nigerians, irrespective of age, class and status, will significantly rid the country of bad eggs. The Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) and the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) have introduced new rules to ensure faster refunds for failed airtime and data purchases following rising consumer complaints over debits without value. In a statement by NCC's Head of Public Affairs, Nena Okoha, the new framework targets unsuccessful transactions linked to network downtime, system failures, and human errors that affect subscribers nationwide. The NCC said the framework brings the financial and telecommunications sectors up to speed on how failed transactions are handled and resolved. Under the framework, Okoha said mobile network operators and banks are bound by a service-level agreement that clearly defines their roles in transaction processing and refunds. She added that refunds are expected to be completed within 30 seconds, except where a transaction remains pending, in which case the resolution can take up to 24 hours, while operators are required to notify customers by SMS on the status of every airtime or data transaction. Now talking security, former Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuko Buratai, retired, has filed a 1 billion naira defamation suit against another retired senior military officer, Major General Ali Kefi, retired, before the Federal High Court sitting in Kaduna State. The suit, instituted at the Kaduna Judicial Division of the court, accuses Ali Kefi in various online news platforms and social media outlets of making and circulating false, malicious and defamatory statements allegedly linking Buratai to terrorism financing, Boko Haram suspects, and the illegal release and concealment of terror suspects, which is defamatory and injurious to his reputation. According to court documents, the plaintiff alleges that the defendant granted interviews in 2025 in which he insinuated that Brutal had links to terror suspects and financiers and was involved in conspiracies to cover up terrorism-related activities during his tenure as Chief of Army Staff. He is asking the court to order Ali Kefi to immediately retract the alleged defamatory statements and publish an unreserved public apology with equal prominence in Sahara Reporters, 2 national newspapers, and online on all social media platforms where the statements were circulated. The plaintiff is claiming 1 billion naira as general damages for libel and injury to reputation, citing the gravity of the terrorism-related allegations, the wide circulation of the publications, and the defendant's status as a retired senior military officer. And the Nigerian Air Force have met with senior United States officials and representatives of Bell Textron to fast-track the acquisition of 12 AHIZ attack helicopters, a critical capability upgrade intended to bolster Nigeria's counter-terrorism and security operations across the country. According to NAF spokesperson Ehimen Ejodame, the engagement focused on assessing the status of the helicopter acquisition program, addressing logistical challenges, and ensuring timely delivery within agreed timelines and budget. The Chief of Air Staff assured that the NAF will take all necessary measures to ensure the helicopter's delivery in the shortest time possible, while emphasizing that the program management team must remain innovative, solutions-driven, and focused on meeting both timelines and operational standards. The advanced AHIZ helicopters are expected to significantly enhance the NAF's combat capability, operational efficiency, and mission readiness. And that's developing stories at this time. Please stay with us as Perspectives continues. Good morning.
Care of your physical body is good for your mental health and crucial for overall well-being and a high quality of life. It empowers you to live a longer, healthier, and more fulfilling life. Focus on a balanced diet, regular physical activities, sufficient sleep, go for regular checks, protect yourself from preventable diseases, avoid smoking, excessive alcohol consumption, and risky behaviors. Eat healthy, avoid illegal drugs or using prescription drugs in ways other than prescribed. Keep your environment clean, stay hydrated, and connect with other people, as good relationships are important for your mental well-being. Please go to the hospital or consult your doctor if you are not sure of what your body is telling you. Remember that good health is more valuable than material possessions. It is the most precious asset, as it enables you enjoy life, pursue goals, and experience happiness, which wealth alone cannot guarantee. Health is wealth. This message is brought to you by OSRC Television.
Welcome back from the newsroom. It's still Perspectives on Osrc television, and we still have a guest in the house, Akinwumi Abolide, a public analyst. We were looking at the impeachment proceedings against River State Governor Osrc. Yesterday they said they will commence impeachment against him being the third time. The first one was in December 2023, the second one was in February this year, and this is another one. Before we went on that, because talking about the fact that now that Fuba is now in APC and Wike is working with APC, though not officially an APC member, to what extent do party politics and power struggles influence impeachment processes in Nigeria?
Okay. Well, members of the River State House of Assembly have defected to the APC. They must take instruction.
It's the minister said 11 of them.
Yes. That's a lot, including the speaker. Don't forget.
11.
So, it is the speaker that is the most important part of that assembly. And once the speaker is in sync with the decision to impeach him, it becomes easier, naturally.
Yes.
But the speaker and APC members in the House of Assembly, they must defer to the leadership of the party. The position of the party, at least as we have seen since yesterday, with the delegation from the president or from the Federal Executive Council visiting Fubara and assuring him that the president loves him, is to the extent, in my opinion, that the APC is behind him. So how a house populated by APC members will impeach an APC governor for doing nothing but simply because somebody who is not a member of the party wants him impeached is the drama I'm waiting to see.
Okay, while we'll continue, let me also read out our number so that if you want to contribute, you can also call in 0706-325-5428. 0706-325-5428 is the number to call to also contribute to what we're looking at on the program this morning. The impeachment proceedings against Fubara in River State. What say you as a viewer to this? You can call us on the number 0706-325-5428. Alright. You're saying?
Yes, so you see, politics is about emotion. And politics is about interest. Now, is it the interest of the people or your personal interest? That's also very important to define.
At the end of the day, let me say what you say. Some are also saying, is Fuba not also thinking of himself at this point?
How?
To have defected, leaving the party that brought you in, and you went to APC.
Is it the first governor who defected?
It's not the first. But in the
even Umba, who was doing very well in Enugu, and was standing gidigba, still defected to the APC
without crisis.
So why should in any case, all of them have been saying there is crisis in their party, the PDP. So Sim has also said that the same crisis is affecting him. He wants to defect, and the constitution allows him. If there is proven crisis in the party that is irreconcilable, you can defect. So that is what, but much more than that. You think that Sim is a fool? He knows that he's already being attacked by dangerous animals, and he needed protection. So you have to look. The law of life, the first law of life is preservation. So what he tried to do was to preserve his life.
Okay.
So I won't die, so that tomorrow we can do whatever.
Mr. Kinmi, do you think that he would have had the APC back him if he had not defected?
He would
have come.
They would have. He was not a member of their party. So they would have.
Given the democracy thing and all that.
Democracy. Listen, democracy is also about self-preservation. Democracy bows to the law of life, law of existence, human existence, preservation. If he was not a member of the party, how would they?
He would not have.
Don't protect him now. It's not their business.
That's why Wike is not being protected. It is right now because he's not a member of APC.
So let him stay with his PDP. And God continue to cause crisis in the PDP.
But there is no roof there again.
But it's the roof. It's the house that the roof.
Wike has also accused APC of saying it is what they created. Wike is what APC created.
And then you didn't say anything.
Maybe you need to check my program when I started.
07063255428 is the number you can call us on to also contribute to the topic of discourse this morning. 07063255428. Fubara, they've called for his impeachment again.
Let me quickly read out the accusations again. These include demolition of assembly complex. Yes. Extra budgetary spending. Withholding funds meant for Assembly Service Commission. A refusal to obey the Supreme Court on the financial autonomy of the House.
How?
Now my question is this. If this impeachment follows through, what's the implication in the state governance?
There's no implication. You go home and somebody else will take over. There's no implication. There's no implication. If he's found guilty of all these things, if the chief judge sets up a panel to investigate these allegations, and they are found to be correct, that of course he has committed impeachable offenses. He's guilty. That means he has even done wrong. He has breached the constitution. He should go to his house.
So that means at this point we'll say Wike is free. Now we don't say it's Wike's influence.
Exactly. That's why we describe involvement as political influence or is it interference?
Yes.
Or is it
it's constitutionally right?
You see, if I have a beef against you, I will definitely look for something to accuse you of, whether you are guilty or not.
Yeah.
Accusation has
listen, that will say,
Okay, in English, when you want to kill a dog, you give it a name.
A bad name. You understand? Now you forget all the day it has been protecting your yard. So, why? We must wait for these allegations to be proven.
Okay.
So by the judiciary.
By the judiciary.
Yes, that's the involvement.
By the panels that will be set up. Let's hope that the panel will not be influenced with money. Because that's what politicians do. A lot of politicians influence everything with money. But whether they influence it with money or not, the thing is, let's wait for the panel that will be set up by the chief judge of the state to investigate these allegations. That's the first thing. Secondly, it is laughable that the destruction or the bulldozing or whatever of the House of Assembly is not the first governor
to do that.
He according to him then, he said he wanted to build a new structure. What's wrong with that? If the structure has been standing for so long, look at what happened in the Ondo State House of Assembly under Akiti. They said the snake came from the roof. It showed that the group, but in Akiti's case, because he didn't want to spend too much money, he decided to pull down. He didn't pull down the structure,
just the roof.
He renovated the entire structure.
Okay.
That's the same thing as pulling it down. The only difference is that the volume of money involved is different. So, if the government feels that this House of Assembly is not good enough for the legislature, let me pull it down and give them money.
Shouldn't be accused of.
That's it. But even much more than that, that events have overtaken that after the emergency rule. Yes. Emergency rule in the state. So why are they still bringing it up? Okay. That shows you mischief. Yes. In my opinion, that shows mischief. And I'm going to take time to, look at all the other allegations as somebody who has common sense, because I know I have common sense.
So because of our time, because our time is fast spent, we still have the last segment of the show to go. What advice will you give political actors to strengthen democracy during conflicts like this?
First off, in human existence, conflict is inevitable. But when there is conflict, you must deploy common sense. So my advice number one is that whatever they do, politicians should show a lot of common sense. Two, as Nigerians, we must be careful. Someone said, let's keep praying. Let our religious fathers pray. It won't work.
God answers
prayers, but God is not mocked. You don't do things like that. You don't destroy. Okay, so if you want to put a knife through somebody's neck now, and you're saying, God, please don't let me put it through the person's neck, does that make sense? So my advice is that, yes, we must pray for our nation to survive, because honestly speaking, what I see in Rivers State is too bad, too dangerous for our democracy. It is sending dangerous signals to other people to actually start misbehaving. And once the fire catches in more states than Rivers, then we are in trouble with our democracy. So one, the politicians should learn from history. They must not behave like people who forget so easily where we are coming from. I remember that in the first 10 years of return to democracy, any politician who talks will say the military destroyed the nation, the military plunged us into clinical. They understand. If it is true, do we want to go back to that? Do we want our children, our wives, our husbands to be killed unnecessarily for nothing? So we must be careful. When there is violence, you never know when it will end. You can only know the beginning of a violent situation. You can never determine the end of it, how high it will go. So my advice is, please, politicians, have sense.
Common sense.
Well, they say it's called common, but just have sense. That's it. Remember that you have something to protect. You call it your pot of soup. Protect your pot now. Don't throw it away.
Thank you very much, Akinwumi Abodunde, for coming on the program this morning. Perspectives. It's shared a lot. Well, as he said, politicians are big. Let's sit tight. It's very important. So we don't return to that which we said it's bad. Alright, we'll take a short break. We'll come back and go straight to our trending stories for today. Stay with us. is on your darling station, OSRC. Alright, going straight to the trending stories for today, starting with this, Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has assured residents of the state that there is behind the attack and killing of 5 forest guards will face justice. Makinde, who stated this on his Facebook page, also condemned the attack and appealed to residents to remain calm as investigations continue to reveal those behind the dastardly act. The governor further noted that preliminary investigations by the security agencies indicated that the incident was a cross-border attack carried out by bandits. He further appealed to residents of Oyo State, especially those in Orire local government area and other local government areas along the border to remain calm as the security agencies had restored normalcy and deployed more personnel to the area. We also remember that on the 31st of December, Ondo State was attacked, although I heard some stories that it might not be bandits, but then how safe is our society right now? With all of this, are they in the West already?
You know, a lot of people then, when all of this was going on in Niger State and Plateau State, we were like, oh, it's not happening in our state, it does not affect us. But that's one, I think, a narrative we need to clear out from our society, because what affects one affects the other. Now we can see that we've been having cases now. If they said the one at our local government wasn't a bandit, but we cannot say there was not an attack. Now with this one that also went on at Oyo State too, we ask ourselves, how safe is even the Southwest that we've been saying the Southwest is very safe? And you know, this thing keeps moving. Every state borders each other one way or the other, whether you like it or not. So let's just, we've talked about state policing, you understand, looking for, okay, how can we even enhance what we have? You see, admonitions, how can we empower our policemen, our security personnel? Now, the one that went on at all, I said it last week, it sounded funny, but it wasn't funny. The fact that residents and policemen are running. It sounded funny. Yes, it's something to laugh about.
Residents can run. Which one did the police say?
That's why I said residents and the policemen, they were running. Do you understand? They don't have what it takes. And when I said it sounded funny. It was not like, I was making mock, but it wasn't mock, it was stating the obvious. It's also, now it goes a long way in saying how well equipped are these security personnel that we are even saying they should protect us. So I think we should do more, and I love the fact that the Oyo State government is also saying they would empower the security personnel more and tighten our borders and all. I think that's what should be done.
I don't know, but with Amotekun in action, I really do not understand why does it still happen?
They are not allowed to carry arms. What are they going to confront them with?
How have they been working so far?
They are Amotekun.
Okay.
The Nigerian kind of thing.
Okay, because the other day they caught some people, how have they been? Because if you say they've not been holding guns and...
They've not been holding guns.
So it's been African thing?
Yes, African thing. The intelligence,
yes,
and all that.
Okay.
Which was one of the things the late governor of Ondo State, Akeredolu, fought for, that they should be allowed
empower
to carry
weapons.
And up until now, that is not happening, because that's the only way for me that they can confront these daredevils.
The question is that African way, is it enough to combat these people?
Exactly. Then I think we should go back to state policing, if that will work for us, and try it.
It's been advocated for a long time, even by late Akiti. And recently I remember that the president said the National Assembly should look into state policing. I think they should do more in that area.
It's lingering for too long. Yes.
Alright, moving ahead, the federal government has described as misleading and deliberately crafted to inform the public media that Nigerian students on scholarship in Morocco have been abandoned. In a statement signed by Buriwo Folashade, the Director of Press and Public Relations, Federal Minister of Education, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tuji Alausa, clarified that no Nigerian student on the valid federal government scholarship has been abandoned. He said any temporary delays in outstanding payments are attributable to fiscal constraints and are currently being addressed through ongoing engagements between the Federal Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Finance.
Okay. VDM posted a video where he spoke with these students said to be on scholarship, and they explained what they've been going through, that they've not even been given their allowance and all. Now, are we going to say this is false? Because the federal government coming out now to say there is nothing like that, that all the students on scholarship are well taken care of. So at this point, I don't know what to believe, but I would just say everyone should do what needs to be done. Because the next story we're also going to take has something of accusing the federal government of not reimbursing something that is normally needs to be given to them. You understand? So now they say when 2 or 3 or more people start accusing one particular person of something, then they say there's a little so I'll leave it there.
Okay. I'd like transparency. Yes. Of course, if you're wrong, just admit yes. Something is in the pipeline. We're addressing it rather than come to say that to save face. If that is true, because we don't know, we cannot say exactly who is lying and who isn't. Is it the students now or the federal government? Well, but this pancake thing method of trying to make it look like everything is fine when it is not, I really do not like it. So well, I hope that they will do the needful, somehow. Sometimes this is the way it works. They come out to say so, just like what they have said now, and then they go behind the scene to do the needful. So you understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So, well, whichever way, I hope that they will address it and do the needful.
Yeah, because the federal government also claimed some time ago that the scholarship, the scheme has been cancelled. I also know that a few days ago when I took the news, they also mentioned the fact that yes, there are some distinct to read, they are working on some things. But what do they do if it is cancelled? Who are those that are still giving it out? And right now we have people who are another angle. So we need to know what exactly happened. Did they even go to the right channel? Exactly. Is that scholarship legit? Is it legit or not? Because sometimes they don't have information. You can run into this problem. Yes, as Nigerian citizens you can, and most of them are gullible. They tell you this there's a scholarship to so and so, and then you jump into it without even finding out, verifying what exactly is happening. Is it still on, or has it been scrapped? Just that's another angle to the story. Information is needed. So the Diaspora Commission, should also look into it. Exactly. If it is cancelled, then there's no need for people putting in for it. Okay, a presidential aide, Bayo Ononuga, has taken a swipe at former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi over his criticism of the federal government and the Nigeria Football Federation following reports of unpaid match bonuses to the Super Eagles. Ononuga comments follow Obi's earlier post on X, where the former Labour Party presidential candidate in 2023 election condemned the situation in which the Super Eagles reportedly threatened not to travel to Marrakesh for their next African Cup of Nations. It said, and I quote, "When will this embarrassment end? Can we get through a day without troubling news in this country?" Will be asked. But then another reply saying, "Mr. Peter, must you weaponize every issue?" The Minister of State for Finance, Mrs. Doris Uzo-Kanete, said the issues delaying the release of the bonuses have been addressed. It's been addressed, and that the bonuses will be paid today. There's one newspaper already saying it's been sorted out, but it's good news that they spoke out, the players spoke out and heard it and addressed it. The federal government is addressing it.
But then I'd like to say something. First, let me start with the Peter part. That we have opposition does not mean that they don't have the right to talk. when they see that things are not right. So, I mean, attributing it to the fact that it's an opposition coming from the opposition does not mean that, the person is bitter. Well, that's for me. And at the same time, let me also talk about because this is not the first time these people are complaining about, payment, delay, and even the way they're treated, So why should it even be delayed? Why should they have to speak up before? And this has been affecting, our women's, our players, because sometimes, you know how it works psychologically, motivation. If it's not there, they won't do well. They're representing the country, the nation. So that you should not even wait for that before you know. It shouldn't be. I just feel that's not the first time. But I'm glad that they've addressed it. I am glad. But they should not even take that
and it should stand addressed. And it should continue that way. These people don't have to complain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It should not. It's not
the best. I know this thing is one of the things that counted against us not qualifying for the World Cup. Because at the beginning, you see the way our boys were playing, they were losing matches, they were just drawing, and at the end of the motivation, they need to be motivated. But I also feel that everything shouldn't be politicized, and that goes to Peter Obi.
Okay.
Moving ahead, the West African Examinations Council (WAEC) has authenticated the senior school certificate examination result of Olubunmi Tuju-Ojo, Minister of Interior. It was reported in December 2025. The Center for Leadership Legacy International Center, a civil society organization, has asked President Bola Tinubu to order a probe of allegations surrounding the minister's academic records, particularly his WAEC certificate. Previously, questions were asked about Tunji-Ojo's National Youth Service Corps NYSC discharge certificate. Although his associates dismissed the allegations as politically motivated, the allegations continued to surface on social media and in press releases on a regular basis. The WAEC document titled Attestation of Results states that Tunji-Ojo attended the Staff Secondary School at the Federal University of Technology, Akure, and sat for the Senior Secondary School examination in June 1999. So the attestation certificate was made public. It's everyone has to clear the air.
No, I think that's a good one. We've already gotten it. The WAEC already came out and said he wrote this exam, he sat for it, and this is his certificate. We are attesting that he sat for the exam in 1999. I think that's all true.
And that's the certificate that you're wondering. That's the certificate. And I hope that we can put this to rest at once and not bring this up again, because, it's just like the case of Jesus when people wanted him crucified and they had to bring out something and say, crucify him. Well, even when they saw Barnabas there, they still wanted him. Yes, so please, let's put this to rest. The body already came out to say, this is it. So let's take it for, the way it is. They've said that. All right, let's move on to the
politics. Any other thing? Maybe the next will be primary school.
So what is it for?
All right, moving on. The Commissioner of Police, Lagos State, Olongare Jimoh, says that the rape and murder allegations made against Pastor Chris Okafor will be investigated. Jimoh said this on Thursday during an interview on a television station, noting that the allegations of multiple rape and murder cases were gotten on social media. He says, and I quote, "We are going to ensure that all the cases reported against him, even if it is on social media, are investigated." The police CP said about the claims against the founder of the Mountain Liberation and Miracle Ministry. That's from the commissioner said, rape is a capital offense which might not necessarily mean it is only punishable by death, but can mean life imprisonment if found guilty.
And I also like the fact that the Commissioner of Police said even though these accusations were done on social media, that it's still going to look into it and investigate it. But then I also want to call out to those people involved that if you really have something against this person, come out the right way and do it.
Come with evidence.
Come with evidence. Now there's also a lady that said she was involved with the pastor. She has gone through several abortions, and then she finally decided to keep the last one, which the pastor said no, he's not the father. Yes, she said they went for a DNA, but she feels that the result was tampered with because it was done in an establishment that is owned by a friend to the doctor, to the pastor. And she said the child belongs to the pastor. And the pastor is saying it's not my child. And she said, I was with you alone during that time, so I'm still telling you, let's go to another facility and run this DNA. But then it goes out again to say our pastors, the people that we look up to,
spiritual.
You understand? So it's really sad because he still comes to church and he's still preaching, and I think the church at this point should tell him to take a bow.
Recently he came out to say he was going on leave. He needed to spend time with his wife that he newly got married to.
Yes, spiritually orchestrated marriage. Yes.
That they needed time for themselves. So maybe during that time he will get the...
it's just a lot because even a child...
And say the truth.
Yes.
This is too much. The
allegations are too much.
Even he's not just the only person. Because I also saw another pastor the other day. I saw a video. I know that we still get down there, especially social media. Sometimes you have to be careful when you want to, make contributions, when you see videos like that. Yes. But at the same time, we've seen people coming out. There was another pastor, I learned the brother of Bishop Oyedepo, and he had another wife after living a marriage of 33 years, and he came out in the pulpit to introduce the woman. It was just the manner at which he did it. I saw the video. I saw so many. I was pissed. I do not, of course, he is also human. They are humans as well, and so they're not infallible. They can make errors as well.
Yes.
But then you are a role model to people in the church, and you are also, for that position that you occupy, a lot of people look up to you. They are watching your way of life, your lifestyle. What are you telling those people? I found at it when he said, if you want to clap, if you're happy, clap. If you're not happy, like, I don't owe you an explanation and all, accountability. I'm just linking it with this because, and accountability, the way he said it. So tomorrow, I feel that don't mislead the people that God has placed under you to watch over or to pastor. Tomorrow somebody can say that come up from the church and dump a marriage of maybe 28 years this time and say I'm bringing in another woman, and you see another side, the pastor as an example. You've been seeing a woman coming to church with the man all over for so many years, and you're acquainted with the woman, you've seen the woman, you've exchanged numbers, and then all of a sudden the person brings another woman to church, and how do I run up to, accountability, it really matters. It does. And I've seen people coming out after that video came out and to say that, this pastor, this is what he used to, I've worked with him, he used to go to the club and so many pastors,
Views coming from our church.
It's getting too much. It is getting too much.
Yes,
it's getting too much.
Please, they need to do something. We need to move on because of time. Popular Nigerian TikToker Another Elizabeth, widely known as Jarvis, has opened up about her mother's deteriorating health condition and her growing fear of social media scrutiny. In an emotional video shared by Hush Bobby Media via Instagram on Wednesday, the social media personality expressed deep concerns that critics might record her ailing mother and weaponize the footage against her online. The content creator anticipated harsh criticism from online users who might question her care for her mother despite her parents' financial successes. However, she stressed that her mother's condition has transcended monetary solutions. I know we have that video. If it can be put on so we watch it, that would be nice. But while we are waiting for that,
okay, that's fine.
Put it on.
is crazy. Tomorrow they might video her in a condition and try to use it against me. That's the one thing I've been scared of. That nobody should find out that my mom is not well, and they should not come and use it against me on social media. Because social media will always say, oh, why don't you take care of her? You have all the money, you have everything. But the thing is that at this point money can't solve it. It's just God, faith, belief. I love my mom, and she tried. She tried. She fought. She defended us without no father figure. Now this father figure is what I still don't understand today. From the beginning of birth, he used to call because he's an outsider from cellular. He used to call. He calls me Aminata, and I just giggle. I'm just a little child. We don't communicate too much. But it got to a year where the whole line, stopped communication. Till today, I haven't heard. I'm the one searching. I've gone to Senegal. I'm still.
Really, especially when it goes to the part of the father, the relationship she had with him, and how the whole thing fizzled out, how she's searching for him. And she has come out to say, my mom is sick. Yes, it's not about money now. It's crushing it because her health is really in a bad state. And also the fact that she's been scared of social media. The fact that they would throw her if they knew and all that. We also did that earlier this year. One of the pastors, Oyedele, was that who talked about your responses on social media. If you must contribute well and all that. It's,
this goes a long way on just like you spoke about contribution. Everybody's going through a lot. You don't know what this person is going through. So with your response, be kind. And this also goes away, not just on social media, even in your working space. Any way you can make someone feel comfortable and relaxed. Just try. There are ways you construct criticism. Even if you have, yes, there are constructive ways of putting out your criticism out there. So look for the right way to speak with people. Just make any space you have with people. Yes. Just try to make welcome people in. Because even if you would criticize, there are ways you criticize. You get so everybody has
you have a reaction to.
Yeah, I'll just correlate to what she said. Like warm up to people, warm up to them. Don't always be cold and
Alright, okay, let's quickly take this one. Celebrating Nigerian author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie and her husband.
This is not so cool.
Ibra Esege have lost one of their twin sons, Nka Nunamdi. The tragic event happened on Wednesday, January 7, 2026, after a brief illness, and the family is devastated by the loss and appeals for privacy during this period of mourning. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has expressed condolences to the family in a personal signed statement issued on Thursday. We know that Adichie is a popular person,
the public figure,
and all that. It's sad, one thing I pray is that no mother should lose you. It's usually the effect, devastating effect.
It's like an everlasting wound.
You can never get through it. So we commiserate with the family, we commiserate with Adichie, the husband, the family at this trying time. Is indeed a very sad one. Really.
We're going through a lot. I pray for our celebrities. I really don't know what's happening lately, but then I hope they will be fine. Yeah.
I hope they will be fine. In that, we come to the last story, which is a celebration.
Yeah, at least we have to smile for them. Yes.
We now Nigerian singer Adekunle Kosoko, also known as Adekunle Gold, has announced that he and his wife Simi have welcomed their twin babies. The singer posted about the good news via his Snapchat story on Wednesday. He said, asked God for another child. and he blessed me double. Although the gender of the babies haven't been revealed, the news drew congratulatory messages from fans and colleagues. Yes, congratulations.
I love this. Yeah, I do. Congratulations to them, to the whole family. Yes, and to the music industry as well.
Yeah.
You know, I guess this time she's going to come out with Duduke Reloaded. So right now it's going to be Duduke Reloaded times 2.
It is good.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah. The twins. Now, wow.
I love the kind of, I asked for one, he gave me double.
Alright, so it's time for us to sign out. Atilayo, let me start with you.
Yeah, we have to go. I enjoyed every moment spent here today. Yeah, and I'm going to end it the way I started. Don't forget the message. This is 2026. Make it count. If you have plans, if you have projects, start now. Don't wait till the end of the year. Alright, and that's from me to you.
Okay, I'm just going to keep it short and simple. It's Isis and Monilari, and I would say a good name is better than riches.
And for me, I would say impeachment remains one of democracy's sharpest tools. Used wisely, it protects the system. Used recklessly, it destroys it. So my message is simple. Which part are we on? In Nigeria, which part are we on? That's where I'll leave it today. This program returns next week by the special grace of God. Be good, be nice. One of our messages here today is warm up to people. People are going through a lot. So you might think yours is worse, but please, you don't need to use yours.